What's up, everybody? We are down here, girl. I know y'all been waiting for me to come down here and talk about Sugar Mama and Todd Burruss, soon to be Todd Tucker again. When the news broke on Friday afternoon, everybody ran down to the blogs and saw that from People Magazine, Kandi Sugar Mama Burruss filed for divorce from Todd Burruss Tucker. When they get a divorce, I'll call him Tucker again. I always give Todd the blues. I always give Sugar Mama the blues. I'm a person who doesn't particularly care for Kandi's personality, and you can go back and watch my videos from years and years and years ago. Ever since Kandi has been on um, Real Housewives of Atlanta, I just don't like her little sneaky personality. Gossip. She gossips, sneaky. Have her candy coated clique do her dirty work for her and all this other stuff. So I always seen Sugar Mama for her works. And then season 4, she met Todd through Phaedra, according to the reports. Phaedra introduced Todd. And, I always said Phaedra's like, you want to find somebody you can get over on, you can get a little money out of for a little while. I got somebody just for you. Yes, did I think Phaedra procured Todd for Kandi? I do. And told him she got some money. You can go over there with your bright ideas and her capital, and y'all can make a great team. That's something that I've always said about Sugar Mama and Todd, is that they make a great team because he has all the bright ideas and she has the capital to actually execute the ideas. Did I lie? Did I lie? Okay. Okay. And you know how whenever somebody gets married, especially a black woman, honey, if she gets married and the nigga doesn't embarrass her outright in public, everybody wants them to stay together. Based on Kandi's statement, I want to congratulate Kandi for choosing peace and well being over a lengthy marriage, a long term marriage, or just a piece of paper. Your peace and your well being is the most important thing. And if that's not being cultivated and respected in the relationship, I don't give a damn how long the relationship lasts. Congratulations to you for saying, I would like to exit. And then a little door comes, little door just, it's like a little, like almost like sparklers that will outline a door frame. And then a little light will come out of the wall and it'll say exit. So I feel like ending what no longer serves you is the best decision. I feel like that's the best decision. So I am proud of Kandi because it does take, especially a black woman with a man who seemingly everybody loves because he hasn't out. Marvin has never embarrassed Kandi, Sugar Mama. So everybody thinks he's a, great man. He's a good man, Savannah. But if we go back and watch clips of Todd and the way that he talks and the way that he spoke about, about like even about like having Kayla work for her money, and this ain't your money. You didn't work for this, neither did you, my nigga. All you did was walk down a motherfucking aisle and smile a little bit and probably lay a little dick down every now and again. You didn't do nothing to earn your the money that you have access to. I will always give Todd the blues. I'm sorry. And I will call him Todd Tucker. And that's how the girls are wound up. Because whenever I called him Todd Burruss, I would continue to call him Todd Burruss, is what I meant to say. But when I called him Todd Burruss, there were literally women in the comments saying that it was disrespectful to call him by her last name. It was disrespecting him to call Todd by Kandi's last name, even though Kandi is the head of household, even though Kandi is the breadwinner, even though Kandi is the one with the capital. Yes, Todd has great ideas, but as we can see, he just wanted to spend up Kandi's money because it made no sense for them to have a OLG and then him wanting to open up a Mexican restaurant called Ole LG, and then a breakfast spot instead of opening OLG from 7 to 12 and then opening it for late lunch 1:30 to 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. No, he wanted to open up another restaurant. Now, based on the way that the restaurants were closing down, I feel like that was a way of them dissolving their businesses because according to the prenup, whatever they acquired while they were married is going to be both of theirs. So I think they slowly were dissolving their businesses. And that's the reason why OLG closed. And that's the reason why Blaze close? Because the other OLG in Camp Creek is still open, right? Or is it not? But I know the one on Peter Street is closed. OLG on Peter Street is closed, but the one in Camp Creek is it still open? Y'all let me know. And then Blaze, they said Blaze is not open either. So I feel like when those restaurants started closing, that was them dissolving, like going through and dissolving the marriage, because according to the prenup, from what we hear allegedly, is that whatever was earned after the marriage is both of those. If Todd used his money to open it, to execute it, it's his. If Kandi used her money to open and execute it, it's hers. And then so that's what I feel like was happening with the businesses. And we noticed a long time ago that OLG was closed and Blaze was closed down, closed for rent or permanently closed. You go on Google, it'll say permanently closed. We was asking about OLG. We've heard Kandi say that Todd just wants to open up a bunch of businesses. He don't want to go inside of the restaurant. We've also heard after the children came, we also heard that they have different parenting styles where he feels like they need to work for Kandi's money. And they were even like hesitant on putting him as a beneficiary because if anything were to happen to Kandi, we were worried. Mama Joyce was worried about Riley. So there has been a lot of people with keeping their foot on Marvin's neck. I am one of them, even though I don't particularly care for Sugar Mama. I always give her props when it comes to her. I always say I give her props when it comes to her business acumen, and then there's always somebody in the comments saying, "Well, if the business has stayed open and we're sustainable, and she was sustaining the business, but that bedroom Kandi seems to be doing very well. Bedroom Kandi seems to be doing very well, and but I don't know about any other thing that Kandi has in terms of business outside of, producing. Her and Todd were producing the plays together, produced a couple of plays together. I think it was an August Wilson play and another play they did together. Um, and so from the beginning, I've always been like, I'm like Mama Joyce, ain't no river wide enough, ain't no mountain high enough to keep me off your ass, baby. And we stayed on his ass and I didn't give a fuck. I have a video that has I think over 35,000 views, short of me wearing Todd out and saying and like wearing Todd out when he had the nerve to tell Kayla she needed to earn her money. I'm like, nigga, all you did was marry well. What you talking about? And Todd had his own, but he didn't have what Kandi had. He wasn't coming to the relationship with what Kandi had. Kandi is the bread. It's okay. It's okay. Kandi is the breadwinner. Kandi is the head of household. Kandi is the leader. Kandi's name carries the legacy. That's why I don't understand. Here we are again with Ace and Blaze. Last name Tucker. No, Burruss is nowhere to be found. But like I said, I'm congratulating women who get a divorce and walk towards peace and well-being. I'm all here for that. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it a little bit. Let's talk about it a little bit. Miss Worldwide. I feel like Kandi has always been that. I don't care. And but even when I remember when there was an episode where Kandi pulled up to um what does Kandi call her business? Kandi Coded? I don't know what it's called. I think it's called Kandi Coded. Anyway, she pulls up to her studios or her offices or her offices and she had a place card in the I'll make sure I'm okay, honey. I just had a sneezing attack. I give Todd the blues. I was finding old tweets of mine before we get started. You want me to read some old tweets of mine from years and years ago talking about Todd? Girl, I never left my foot. I done picked. Who is this? So what is this, honey? Okay, so I said this was in 2015. I said Todd quit his job for Kandi. That's a perfect investment for Sugar Mama, a Negro with no job.
Who are these niggas?
And I said they were. I guess they were making a list of pros and cons. And I said that Todd's list of pros for Kandi. She has money. She has paper. She has bread. She has dough. She has stacks. Todd wants to be the only one benefiting from being married to Kandi. Screw Kayla. Because I was when he was saying that Kayla needs to earn her money. I said, what does Kandi mean by Todd is the boss in the relationship? What the fuck does that mean? That was just 2 years ago when she was talking that shit. This was in 2019. I said, Todd Burruss scored when he married Kandi. What y'all call it? Hypergamy? Nobody told Kandi to have another baby with the man. She didn't like his parenting style with the first child. If he did it with Ace, would you think the other baby would be different? She ain't even a week old yet. Listen to this. Listen to this. And I already knew I was gonna kind of like be on my own on the late night shift because that's how he was with Ace too. But once again, like with Ace, this is where he really pissed me off. He decided he want to go out and go to the club. She ain't even a week old yet. Wait, 2 nights in a row. No. 2 nights in a row. You already knew. You already knew I was going out both of those nights. No. That was one clip. This is another one. I said Todd. This was from 2019. I said Todd really just tried to flip that on Kandi. That bitch said, "Don't act like you just all successful. If anything, Kandi is the most successful in the cast. Get Todd's ass together." Todd's asking for the most expensive bottom. With whose money, Todd? I was wearing Todd out. Messy Kandi trying to squeeze Kenya like girl, but Candy's raggedy ass shouldn't have told Kenya nothing. Y'all know she can't hold water. Kandi is mad, but she opened her mouth. Oh, I think this was when Cynthia was getting engaged. I can't believe Kandi, with as many accomplishments as she has, would say that being a mother and a wife is a higher priority over personal accomplishments. See, no matter how well you do as an accomplished woman in this society, women are judged on being a mom and a wife. Yuck. This is from 2019. That's me from 2019. Marriage is a business. If you need a license to do it, handle it as such, period. Yeah, but I used to wear Todd out. Let's see what else I got. This is from 2022. I said even Kandi said out of her clenched teeth, Mr. Todd Burruss likes to put these restaurants together, but he don't like to go in the restaurants. What did I say? All the treasurer of the Lollipop Guild wants to do is spend up the church's money. I said, that's not fair. Kandi should be allowed to pursue her career goals. She just needs someone to help her manage work and life. And Todd should do what he wants to do. I told y'all he didn't want no trucking company. Remember when Todd had a trucking company? He wanted to have a trucking company. This is from 2020. I said, Todd can't even give his own daughter a room at his house, but he's handling Riley Kandi's money. He's handing Riley Kandi's money. Kandi basically said, this is in 2020. I said, Kandi basically said that Todd just needed a sponsor to finance his dreams. I used to say it all the time. I said, they make a great team. Kandi has the money to execute the ideas, and Todd has the great ideas. I said, the people are laughing at me calling Kandi's husband Todd Burruss. Ain't that his name? This is from 2021. That's why I am with it. From day one, I've had my eye on Todd. I feel like Phaedra, like I don't know. I feel like Phaedra is like a procure. Let me find you a woman that can trick on, that can trick on you. That's gonna be just happy to have a man, to be happy to invest in you. That's what Kandi was doing, was investing in Todd. And I guess it got to a point where she wasn't seeing a return on her motherfucking investment. Cause bitch, this if it ain't making dollars, it don't make sense. What are you doing? You just want to spend up. You got all the great ideas, but you don't want to follow through. When the lights went out at OLG and the motherfucker didn't have a generator, I knew something was wrong then. I knew it was a problem then. And he didn't give a fuck about a generator. You cooking people's food. And then all you doing is fucking up Kandi's name because they ain't gonna put on the headline Todd Burruss's restaurant. They're gonna put Kandi Burruss's restaurant. Remember that time he asked Kandi to name a family with legacy, and when she said Burruss, he like brushed it off. Oh, y'all don't remember that? I'm gonna show y'all. We know since the beginning that motherfucker's been a Build-A-Bear. Since the beginning. Listen to this. Listen to this. I want you to hear this. Because Kandi is the one with the legacy. If we want to talk about anybody having legacy to pass down to children, she's the one that created generational wealth to pass down to Lil Riley. Lil Riley. Hold on. Let me get to my notes here. So I mean, okay, so men entering relationships with women where they don't have, that's literally like the story of the Black woman in a relationship. A lot of Black women have been very, very successful, and in order to open up their pool of men, they had a lot of them must lower their standards. When they keep their standards high, the men with that they would attract are not um typically going for them, right? They're going for other women of other ethnicities. And, studies and research has shown that Black women are the most race loyal group of women in our society. So if they have a preference, it's always going to be a Black man first. But when they start rising in the ranks, right, and acquiring assets, and they have a great portfolio, they have investments, they have their own, in order to attract a man that is equal or higher than them, those men typically aren't dating them. That's has been the temperature, right? And that's fine. It's okay, because we always think you want to put your resume in. You don't put your resume into one job. You put your resume into multiple jobs, and then you see who gives you the best offer. And then you go with that, right? You don't just put your resume into one place and be like, "Oh, I hope and wish, I hope, I wish, I hope and wish." No, you make sure that you have your resume in multiple job opportunities, right? So what happens is the women have to lower their standards and get someone and base it on love. Now they have to act like they're so in love with a complete awareness that this man is not making as much as you. And based on the way that men are socialized, when a woman makes more than a man, if they're socialized to believe that a man is higher than a woman, if he financially, because money is a man's commodity in a patriarchy, beauty is a woman's commodity. So if a man is walking into a relationship with a woman who has had everything since, I mean, like, she has been set since she was probably in her early 20s. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's why it was always weird for me the way that Kandi would act. But knowing that a Taurus, she's a Taurus. And one thing about a Taurus is they must be secure when it comes to their money, because that is going to supply the means to give them as much food as they want and as much relaxation and luxury that they want. Shout out to the Tauruses. That's one thing. They need to make sure their money is right so they can eat and relax. Tell me I'm lying. Tauruses do not play about their money. So I already knew that remember when they were about to get married, and she was like, "You better sign this prenup or we just gonna be having a party." Kandi understood. That's one thing I said. That's one thing I have to give her. She understood that she needed to protect her assets. You might act like this man is the head of household, and you may act like he is the breadwinner. You may act like, but everybody knows, right? We just all saying what is understood. We don't need to say it. We already understood that she makes more money. So the hierarchy is already imbalanced anyways, because if you want to operate under this thing where my man, my man, my man, he's the leader of the household and all this other foolishness, but he doesn't make as much money, there's an imbalance there. And based on that and the way that men are socialized, they tend to be resentful to their woman if she makes more. If he's that type of man, those men, if raise your hand if you ever made more than the man you were with, and he gave you hell every chance he got, he gave you hell. It was hell dealing with him. He was always mad, always bitter, mad, and then like making comments. I remember the boy's father used to make comments like, "You ain't gonna take my balls," and he was so worried about his balls being taken away because he knew he couldn't measure up anywhere else. He knew he He knew he was near a goddamn charity case. So we already know that the financial labor is on Kandi. And then as women are in relationships, the emotional labor. Now she has to manage his emotions because the public is always going to have something to say about a man not making as much as his wife. Right? That's the society we live in, right? And those men who act like, oh, a woman's supposed to submit to me and supposed to do this and this and this, they're going to have a problem with their woman, even though they're benefiting, right? It's effective patriarchy to be extracting resources from a woman who has more than you, but you want her to act like you are the man, right? She got to slide you her debit card underneath the table. She got to put a placard in front of her parking space that says Mrs. Todd Tucker to make you feel good about yourself, right? Um, they were together for 11 years, and the average. They said the average is. I think the average has changed. I think it's now um 8 to 12. The average is 8 to 12, or high average is 12 to 13 years. But the average is 8. But I've seen some recent numbers that it has increased it to 12. So I don't know if people are staying married longer, but also the divorce rate is down. But the divorce rate is down because the marriage rates are down. People are not getting married. People are still getting married, and it's weird that people are still getting married and trying to operate under the way we never were template, like the way they want to operate like a June Cleaver, where the woman has no rights. They want a template for when the women didn't have rights, right? And so I don't know why a woman in this day and age would act like that, but it's only to stroke the man's ego. um I think a lot of people get it fucked up, right? They think, oh my God, they've been together 11 years, but that doesn't mean that the relationship longevity in a relationship doesn't mean that the relationship was healthy. We could look at Love and Marriage Huntsville and look at those relationships. Put some respect on my marriage, but your husband almost killed your child because he doesn't know that your child is allergic to peanuts. So you've been married a long time, but your husband doesn't even know your child's allergies. So what are we really talking about? Your husband says that those are your kids. You're raising the kids. What is that? You understand what I'm saying? Like what is, just because you've been married a long time doesn't mean that the marriage is healthy. That's from my perspective. A lot of the times women stay longer when they know that the relationship is over to keep up appearances, right? Oh, Kandi, why would you leave that good man? Oh, Kandi, y'all need to work it out and figure it out. No, if can't in Kandi's message that she said, she spoke about peace. That's what I heard. Choosing peace over a relationship is always going to be more valuable. Choosing your well-being over a relationship is always going to have, you're always going to see a greater return when you invest in yourself, when you invest in your peace, when you invest in your well-being. Investing in a relationship that is one-sided, where you're doing the emotional labor, the financial labor, right? What else? The mental labor. Probably, well, they seem to have like a sex positive kind of sex life, but then there's some people like, oh, that's what happens when you bring other people into your relationship. I would rather know who's coming into my relationship than the man to be cheating on me. So I'd rather be in a sex positive, open, ethically non-monogamous relationship than to be around here looking like a fool while your husband cheats on you. Bringing other people into a relationship, if the relationship is supposed to be monogamous, then that's not going to work, because that's not a monogamous relationship when you're bringing other people in, right? So you have to be honest about the dynamics of the relationship, which I wish more people would, because everybody is judging you based on a template of a nuclear family. And we have studies and research and evidence to prove that that family dynamic isn't always the best for all parties involved, let alone the children. The people's like, oh my God, the children are going to be hurting in a divorce. No. If you ask people who come from a two-parent home, whose mother and father they weren't in the healthy relationship. A lot of the people, they wanted their parents to get a divorce. They were happier when their father was no longer in the home. They were happier from that. Feel like I hope that Kandi honestly speaks about it. Kandi seems to be very open about certain things, but I hope she does speak about the dynamic and why she chose her individual happiness over staying in a relationship where that maybe she didn't have peace. Because she mentioned the word peace, and I'll read it in a second. But that gets tiring after a while, right? A lot of the times women are sacrificing themselves in marriage. You being with yourself and your children and your family and your aunts and your candy coated clique or whatever, if that is what brings you peace, that's what you need to focus on. If the marriage is not bringing you peace, then I need to dump the stock. I'm not going to invest in a stock where I'm not seeing a return on my investment. Nobody does that. Nobody does that, but they expect for you to do it in marriage. They leave marriages so fast. Good, good. The faster you can get out of a fucked up situation, the better. The faster you are able to recognize that you're in a fucked up situation, the better, and the quicker you're able to get out. Shout out to a divorce attorney. Shout out to the option of divorce. You don't have to stay in a relationship where you're not seeing a return on an investment and your peace is being compromised. Absolutely not. Yeah, I used to say peace of mind. You can't get a peace of mind if I don't have a peace of mind. Peace of mind, peace of mind. You want if I don't have a peace of mind, you can't have a peace of mind. That's what it is. Sorry. And if I'm doing the emotional labor, the financial labor, and you coming from this thing where you the man of the house and you ain't got to do much, but we saw Todd out there doing daddy daycare and stuff like that, and hopefully he, they said after 10 years, we don't know what the clause is on their prenup, but I'm over here like, girl, what is he gonna contest the prenup? Like, what's going on? I want to read what Kandi said. Hold on, because that's what stood out to me, the mentioning of peace. Protect your energy, protect your peace. Oh no, see. Yeah, I think women are like kind of pressured into holding on to relationships. That's why when men say, "Oh my God, women just give up on relationships so fast." Yes, because nobody wants to waste time with somebody who is not showing up equally in the relationship or picking up the slack where it needs to be. You understand what I'm saying? I didn't like when Todd had the shit to say about Kayla and getting access to Candy's money and how Kandi gives her money like on the low, because the way that Todd acts over the money. And when they said that when Mama Joyce was rightfully concerned about Riley if anything happened to Todd, to Kandi, how Todd will handle. He just seemed like a little greedy little leprechaun who's like, hee, I'm coming for the pot of gold. He's another one in the motherfucking lollipop guild. Yeah, the treasurer of the lollipop guild, trying to count people's motherfucking money that ain't his. If Kandi wants to give Kayla money, she can. Why does Kayla have to struggle? You ain't struggling, nigga. You living off of Candy's fruits. How come Kayla can't live off of Candy's fruits? And how dare you? I would be, girl, how dare you tell me that I can't live? And you married into it. And the woman's nice enough to me to give me a little money on the side. And that you don't want her to give me money on the side because you want me to work for it. Did you work for it? Or you just lay some dick down in Africa? Right. Okay. Okay. So I'm glad that Kandi did not feel the pressure. I wonder if she did feel the pressure as a black woman, especially with this man who has, on looking. If you look on, it doesn't, he hasn't cheated on her. That's the major thing. He hasn't cheated on her. He hasn't embarrassed her. Um, he hasn't made her look crazy out here in these streets. You understand what I'm saying? Even though we may not know, he could be having her looking crazy depending on the circles that you're in. But I'm glad that she's not feeling like she needs to hold it together. right? Because the women will figure out a way to make it Kandi's fault. Like, how could you give up on this man? This is a good man. You have you a good man, and you wanna break up with this good man, girl. The girls are probably in Todd's fucking inbox as we speak. You understand what I'm saying? They said they was just on the boats the other day. They said somebody said something about Todd, and she just thanked him at the BravoCon. She got Lifetime Achievement Award. Her speech was really nice, and she thanked Todd. And then they said Ace just had a birthday. How did Ace have a birthday? Ace is a Capricorn. It must have been Blaze. It was not Ace, because Ace, we know Ace is a Capricorn because he looked like a little old man. You know, they got that father energy. Um, Saturn. Um, but yeah, so they've been seen out, and then we seen Todd because there were speculations, right? Blind items and everything like that. And they were like, Todd is still wearing his wedding ring. They said Kandi took Tucker off of her Instagram account. It should have always been Burruss. I would have never changed it to Tucker. And like, that is really, it's like, you guys are, that's like patriarchal. That's not something you have to do. It's not something you're required to do. I don't understand why women are so eager to drop their family name and to take on somebody else's name. And then when it's all said and done, do you even fuck with that nigga's family like that? Now you carrying somebody else's family name. Girl, that's crazy as hell. Them is your kids. You're the primary caregiver. You're gonna be taking care of them the most. Blaze Burruss. Hello? Uh Ace Burruss Tucker. Yes. Oh yes. That's crazy. Same with the Kardashians. Y'all giving these men, like, literally they're just getting titles and their names slapped on children, and they're not even taking care of them. We'll see what Kandi does. I'm sure Kandi will have a nanny. I'm sure she'll, it won't be no missteps. She ain't gonna miss a beat. We're gonna go down and make some beats. She ain't gonna miss a damn beat. Um, and I always used to say Todd is the one. He's the entrepreneur, but Kandi is the one with the actual enterprise. She's the one with the goddamn empire. That's her name on all this shit. You understand what I'm saying? I know that people are going to be in the comments sticking up for Todd because he hasn't really embarrassed Kandi. So they're going to be like, "Hey, Kandi, you need to get back with that man. I want y'all to get back together." But I'm telling you, when I read her statement, I saw the word peace jumped out at me. And I'm sure and it's so, because it's really weird how women have to really shrink themselves a lot, dim their shine so that their husbands don't look inferior to them. They have to shrink themselves in order for somebody else to feel superior, like, or to feel like they have a position, right? If a woman don't do this, I can't feel like a man. So your identity is dependent on how someone outside of you acts. So you're telling me that your identity of a man is dependent on how something outside of yourself, a woman, how she acts. How she acts determines on you feeling like a man or not. Like the whole thing, oh, she emasculates. How's that possible? How's that possible? How can somebody make you feel less of a man? Somebody who, from your perspective and your idea in a hierarchy, is lower than you. How does she have the power to make you feel less of your identity when you use your identity as a way to say that you're better than somebody else? How can something less than you, from your perspective, your patriarchal, hierarchical perspective, how can someone less than you make you feel inadequate in your identity as a man when you use your male identity with brute force to oppress that entity that is lesser than you? I ask you. Somebody explain to me. Let me know. I'm just asking. I just want to know. Um, I think this is a lesson, right? I applaud divorce. I'm here for it. Um, Roles are in balance. The relationship has run its course. You're not, we got to get out of the marketing, the marketing bullet point when it comes to marriage is marketing it forever. It's not something that's going to last forever. The divorce rates tell you that. You can look, just peek outside of your window and see that things don't last forever. So that marketing campaign of marriage lasting forever needs to be dismantled. It does. It really does. You might spend a long period of time with somebody, but it's not going to be forever. Okay. Peace is the thing that came out to me. Um, I feel like Kandi is the one with the legacy. I want y'all to hear what Todd said in this clip. I want you to see it. I want to play it for you, but I want you to hear it too.
We're just there as support of the building of a legacy. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So it's totally different.
It's
now.
Not. It's not totally.
It is.
It's not. No. I got a question. Though. I got a question. Though. Name a well-respected name, last name that has legacy.
Hilton. Burruss.
Hilton.
It doesn't like.
Hilton. No.
So Hilton, you think Hilton?
Hilton? Not really.
So
Hilton is real. I mean,
no. So Hilton.
Yeah.
So now I got a question for you. Y'all value y'all last names, but if you were marrying into a Hilton, would Hilton be a last name that you would have taken on, or is it just more so about?
I don't value mine. I'm taking my man's last name. Like,
Girl, shut the fuck up.
That's just stupid.
And that's the thing I'm saying. Like, okay, yeah, you hyphenated your name because you didn't want to leave your daughter behind. But if I was a Hilton, and that,
I still wouldn't. I never would have let my daughter down. It would just been Burruss Hilton. Yeah. Yes,
y'all would have jumped on that Hilton so quick.
Nah,
I'm a Hilton.
Get out of here. I'm not even on that.
I'm a Hilton.
I feel like I built my own legacy, so I definitely don't give a damn about no damn Hilton. I would not leave my daughter from prior to marriage feeling like she was left out by having a different last name if I had to.
But why did
who were setting the legacy? They were just there as support of the building of a legacy. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So it's totally different.
It's
now.
Not. It's not totally.
It is.
No. I got a question. Name a well-respected name, last name that has legacy.
Hilton.
Burruss.
Hilton.
It doesn't like.
Hilton. No.
So Hilton, you think Hilton?
Hilton. No.
He completely ignored Kandi. Kandi said Burruss, started laughing, clapped her hands and everything. Other girls said Hilton, Kardashian. Burruss is up there. Like I'm saying, I can say all day, I don't really care for Kandi, but you're not going to play on her fucking name. I'm sorry. You're just not. I might not like her personality, but bitch, you're not about to play on her name at all. At all. And then when he just like ignored it, bitch, you married motherfucking Kandi Burruss. You wouldn't be interested in her if she wasn't Kandi Burruss. Phaedra wouldn't have introduced your raggedy ass to her if she wasn't Kandi Burruss, motherfucker. And for you to just skip over it like that's not a name with legacy. Yes, it is. The way that they over there making fun of Candace for the way she grew up, Riley Burruss grew up like that. I don't want for nothing. My mama makes sure, and my grandmother is the enforcer of it, the reinforcer of it. Okay, Mama Joyce is gonna make sure Riley is taken care of. Yes, we love Ace and Lil Blaze, baby, but Riley and that man over there, no, he's not gonna be able to say nothing about Riley and her and how this money is allocated. Yes, this is a legacy. And for him to just ignore Kandi like laughed and everything. The girl said Hilton, but I want y'all to listen to it. And I want you to see it, how it was very nonchalant, how he just ran over and he didn't even say like, no, you right, Burruss is, he didn't even acknowledge, he didn't even affirm her. But you sitting up there underneath her with all that motherfucking cash flow to execute your raggedy ass ideas, girl. See, I was trying to keep it calm and cute, but I just thought about it when I was like, I'm gonna play this so I can let y'all hear. We're not gonna play with Kandi Burruss's name, not at all. So I'm proud of her for choosing her peace and well-being over a marriage because that's more important. You don't, there's no obligation to stay with a motherfucker you're not seeing a return on your investment. Hello. Listen to this.
Who were setting the legacy. They were just there as support of the building of a legacy. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So it's totally different.
It's
now.
not. It's not totally.
It's
not, no, I got a question though. Name a well-respected name, last name that has legacy.
Hilton.
Burruss.
Hilton.
It doesn't, like.
Hilton. No.
So Hilton, you think Hilton?
Hilton? Not really.
So Hilton.
Yeah.
So now I got a question for you. Y'all value y'all last names, but if you were marrying into a Hilton, would Hilton be a last name that you would have taken on? Or is it just more so about?
I don't value mine. I'm taking my man's last name. Like, that's just stupid.
And that's the thing I'm saying. Like, okay, yeah, you hyphenated your name because you didn't want to leave your daughter behind. But if I was a Hilton, and that,
I never would have married. It would just been Burruss Hilton. Yes,
y'all would have jumped on that Hilton so quick.
Nah,
I'm a Hilton.
Get out of here. I'm not even on that.
I'm a Hilton.
I feel like I built.
You a fucking Burruss nigga while you was married to Kandi Burruss. That's why I said I would never, ever, ever not call him Todd Burruss. Because you married a woman with a legacy. You married a woman who has built generational wealth. You have married a woman who doesn't want who really does not need you whatsoever. And I'm not about to create a need for you. You better figure out where the fuck you fit in, nigga. I'm not bending over backwards. I'm not breaking my back to coddle you and stroke your fucking fragile ego. No. And you hear him. If I was a Hilton, if you were a Hilton, we would be having a different conversation, a completely different conversation. But you're not. You a Tucker from Brooklyn. Ain't he from Brooklyn? Where is Todd from? You from the Tuckers in Brooklyn, okay? And you married a Burruss from Atlanta. And yes, she is the one with the money. She's the one with the legacy. And for him to just act like, because I'm telling you, if Kandi Burruss wasn't Kandi Burruss, you wouldn't have been married. Phaedra wouldn't have introduced you to her. She introduced you to her because of who she is. Wasn't you a grip or something like that? He was doing something behind the scenes. I guess Kandi stopped seeing a return on her investment that she made into Todd Burruss.
My own legacy, so I definitely don't give a damn about no damn Hilton. I would not leave.
Listen.
I'm a Hilton.
Get out of here. I'm not even on that.
I'm a Hilton.
I feel like I built my own legacy, so I definitely don't give a damn about no damn Hilton. I would not leave my daughter from prior to marriage feeling like she was left out by having a different last name.
But why did she have to be left out? Why did she have to feel left out?
Because she felt left out coming into the marriage. Like you don't know that?
No. I'm speaking to the situation. Why does she have to be felt left out? Like why? That a conversation. Why isn't it like, you know what? This is the man of the house. This is the last name. Let's work together. Let's all be one. Because we're not all the same now. So Ace Blaze, run. Ace Blaze, Kayla. Come out. Just listen first. Listen.
Her name is Parker.
Listen.
Kayla got her mama last name and yours combined.
Right. So listen. So now her and Riley have different situations, and then Blaze and Ace have different situations. Why can't we just come and do one thing? See, why can't we have a conversation and be like, we are a unit, we're all gonna be this?
Because you would have to even get used to being a blended family. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like any child that they automatically, kids come into this new relationship, new marriages, already kind of scared of, well, how is this going to affect me?
You know what I mean? They automatically have those worries or concerns as a kid. I mean, I know I did because my parents married multiple times. So each time my dad got married, I used to be like, okay, well, what does this mean now? How is this about to work? You know what I mean? Like, is he gonna be treating me different than her kids, or how is this going to work?
And for him to be sitting up there, because taking on a man's last name is not a requirement, and people who are married know that it's not a requirement. And for women to fall into that, I'm taking my man's name, I don't even want my name. It's like, unless you feel like you don't want your last name because your family is like raggedy, right? That could be a reason why you're like, whoever I get married, I'm taking their last name because I can't stand my family or whatever. But you can go down to the courthouse and change your last name. We know people every day who change their whole names. So a new last name, it can happen. It's not a requirement. That is something that was to show ownership. And the fact that it shows ownership over something you literally, it's like, I believe the percentage that a man has an involvement in the creation of a child on a 100% scale is like 0.02%. So the fact that you slap a man's last name on you and your children, and those are your children, that whether you're married, the single, whatever, you are more than likely the primary caregiver or custodial parent, depending on the situation. And somebody is running around and you have done all this work, and somebody is running around, that baby is running around with somebody else's last name who actually puts no effort, very little effort, small effort, even if they're in the house, whether they're in the house or outside of the house. Okay, so we're not going to act like these are perfect nuclear family situations and the father is there and present and throwing Timmy a baseball on the front lawn on Sunday afternoon. Let's talk about the real numbers. How many kids grow up without a father in the home? How many kids are affected when the father is there? How many kids are affected by unhealthy relationship dynamics between their parents? How many parents are staying for the kids, even though the kids are being fucked up by the parents staying together? How many households are quiet and peaceful and everybody's nervous system is regulated and there's not a man in sight besides the children who are going to eventually grow into men? Girl, you know how I always say no eggshells? I just saw another woman saying something about having my house might be a mess, but ain't no eggshells on the floor. Ain't no eggshells on the floor. I ain't got to run around tipping and toeing around somebody's little fragile ego. I cannot believe that Todd sat there and acted like Kandi last name didn't carry the weight and that people should take his last name off of what? Off of nothing to show for it. Just because you're a man, you think that everybody should have your last name. I'm not changing my child's last name. I'm not changing my last name. And I bet you Kandi never went down to the courthouse and changed her last name ever. And that is good. That is good. I applaud it. I applaud it. So I feel like Kandi didn't lose anything at all by getting a divorce, filing for divorce. I feel like she reclaimed herself, reclaimed her time, reclaimed her resources. Kandi Burruss, hold on, let's read her message. It says, after deep thought and a lot of prayer, I've made a decision to move forward with a divorce. This is a difficult and emotional time, but my focus remains on protecting my peace, being the best mother I can be, and co-parenting with love and respect. Burruss tells people in an exclusive statement, I'm stepping into a new chapter, pouring into my work, my family, and my own growth. I'm grateful to everyone who supported us throughout the years, and I ask for privacy, grace, and understanding as we navigate this transition with our family. Burruss is 49. Producer husband Tucker is 52. They met while filming the 4th season of Atlanta Housewives in 2011, announced their engagement in 2013, and tying the knot the following year in April. Since then, the pair have welcomed 2 children, Ace, 9 years old, and daughter Blaze, 5 years old. Both also have children from a previous relationship. Burruss's daughter Riley, 23, and Todd Tucker's daughter Kayla, 29. In October 2022, Burruss told people the secret to their happy marriage is, quote, just great communication and having fun together. We have a real understanding of each other. The pair have also teamed up professionally on a variety of projects, a soul food restaurant chain in Georgia, a trucking company, and a Bravo series about their family and a restaurant business, as well as as are just a few of their collaborations. On November 14th, Burruss was awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award at the Bravos during the BravoCon 2025 and thanked Tucker in her acceptance speech. To Todd, thank you for surviving the blogs, the shade, the rumors, the lies, the truth, and almost fights, the actual fights, the reunions. You earned this award too, she said. The singer-songwriter who made her Broadway debut in Chicago in 2018 and will make her Broadway return on December 11th, starring in And Juliet, which will run through March 8th, has since built an impressive resume as a theater producer. She earned a Tony Award nomination for the piano lesson that was and produced acclaimed revivals, including The Wiz, The Piano Lessons, Thoughts of a Colored Man, and last season's Othello, led by Denzel Washington and Jake Gyllenhaal. Burruss previously shared with people that the former couple's career ambitions were quite aligned. We have intertwined our wants and desires, she told people. We have all these dreams, and sometimes I'll be all out of the box, and he'll be like, "Okay, babe, let's do it." In honor of their 8th wedding anniversary in March 2022, the reality star shared a video montage of photos of her and Tucker together, set to a song Forever Love featuring Q Parker. The images were captured throughout the years and included a couple smiling with their marriage license, as well as together at the NASDAQ event on the red carpet. We've got that forever kind of love. Happy anniversary, my love, at Todd167. She captioned the clip, "You're a perfect man for me. I'm a better me with you, 8 years down and a lifetime to go." Tucker they post a photo slideshow of the couple and echoed his wife's sentiments about an everlasting romance. 8 years of blessings. God is so amazing. He makes no mistakes. We have a forever kind of love. I look forward to our future and our lifetime of love. Happy anniversary to my amazing wife, Kandi. I love you. I hope Kandi talks about it. I'm sure she will talk about it. Maybe they'll invite her back to Real Housewives of Atlanta and she'll talk about this. I don't know. Maybe she'll come back to Atlanta, but she's on Broadway now, about to be on Broadway. What they said December 11th, she's about to be acting on Broadway. So shout out to Kandi for choosing herself and choosing peace and choosing, herself. I feel like more women need to, you know, find the courage, to get out there and say, you know what, this is not for me. This is not for me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm happy she did it. I'm happy she did it, and I hope she finds the peace that she's looking for. And I feel like more women again need to find the courage to be like, you know what? I don't have to do this for anybody. I'm doing this for myself. I don't care what it looks like to people looking in. I don't care what my family thinks. I don't care how he feels. I need to care about how I feel, and I need to put myself first. And that's it. And that's it. So, you're going to hear all kind of takes about it, but I feel like, divorce is there for when you're like, it's not going the way that I want it to go, and I'm not going to spend any amount of time letting it go in that direction because I don't want it to go in that direction. So we need to end this now. We need to end this right now and be done with it. You go your way. You 52. What is he? 52 years old. She's 49. There's relationships abound if they both desire to get in a relationship again. But I imagine Kandi saying, "I'm cool." I imagine. I might, like, even Cynthia the other day was talking about how she will never get married again. Phaedra was saying, "I will never do anything on paper, legally bind myself to anybody." The girls are like, and then as women get older and they try to tell you that, like, hey, this is not really it. But for a lot of people, it's like, okay, it's on the bingo card, it's on the bucket list. Okay, do it once, twice, I guess, if you want to, but do it once if you want to do it to experience it, to say like, oh, in my life I've been married. Okay, but yeah. But when the women get to a certain age, all of their advice is, I would not have gotten married. I would not have gotten married. I would not have gotten married. I wouldn't have gotten married in my 20s. Like, please use your 20s for what they're good for. And it's not being tied down and shackled down to some weirdo. It is to have an experience. It's to be experienced. Like, use your 20s for what they're good for. Do not get married to anybody. If you do want to do it, don't get married to anybody in your 20s. That's weird as fuck. If any decade to do it is in the 30s. Because 40, you don't want to be dealing with no shit like that either. And when you hit 50, when I tell you, bitch, ain't zero fucks to give. And Kandi is 49. She's about to be 50 next year. Start a new chapter off right. It's a new chapter in life. Take care of each other. Y'all protect your energy, protect your peace. Don't stay in things where you're not seeing a return on the investment. If it's no longer mutually beneficial, reevaluate it, look at the numbers, crunch the numbers, and make a decision that suits you first and puts you first. Yeah, we think about the kids after we think about ourselves, because in order to take care of the kids, we got to take care of ourselves first. So you first, then the kids. God, you, God, and then the kids. Girl, if you want to add, you want to add a little spiritual aspect in it, and give your kids your last names. Stop changing your last names to these Negroes. I bet you, I'm telling you, a lot of this behavior, a lot of the way that they act in society would stop if women stopped slapping their names on work they didn't do. You're giving them an opportunity to live another generation when they're literally undeserving. The only way you're going to live another generation is just through DNA codes. There will be nobody walking around here with your last name. Absolutely not. It ends with you. Take care of each other. Protect your energy. Let's get down in the comments. Peace.